Stimați colegi, excelențe, ambasadori, dragi oaspeți, eu sunt Tatiana Pui, coordonatoare locală a organizației internaționale Freedom House, organizație care promovează drepturile și libertățile fundamentale ale omului în lume și din numele organizației vă salut la ediția a doua a Forumului de Politici Mass Media din Republica Moldova, care anul acesta va aborda principalele provocări și tendințe regionale din Europa și Eurasia privind libertatea presei în timpul alegerilor. Acest eveniment este partea unui efort programatic mai larg care este susținut de către USAID UK prin cadrul proiectului Media-M, implementat în parteneriat cu organizația Internews, organizațiile locale și Freedom House, care are unul din obiective consolidarea cadrului legal de reglementare și autoreglementare a mass media în Republica Moldova. Acest eveniment, de asemenea, a fost posibil datorită partenerilor noștri, Ambasada Canadiei în România, Bulgaria și Republica Moldova, Fundația Friedrich Naumann din Germania, Black Sea Trust al German Marshall Fund și rețeaua de investigații jurnalistice din Balcani. Acest eveniment anul acesta își propune ca împreună cu experții notorii să punem în discuție principalele tendințe, principalele provocări, dar și care este parcursul următor al soluțiilor de politici pe domeniul mass media și în particular privind promovarea pluralismului mediatic, promovarea reflectării obiective a mass mediei în timpul campaniei electorale, combaterea dezinformării, dar și promovarea libertății de exprimare conform standardelor internaționale. Acestea fiind spuse, vreau să dau startul primei sesiuni plenare, cât de libere sunt mass media și peisajul electoral din Republica Moldova și ofer microfonul doamnei Corina Cepoi, directoare reprezentanța Internews în Republica Moldova. Vă mulțumim pentru participare.
Bună dimineața, bine ați venit! Într-adevăr, sunt Corina Cepoi și lucrez pentru Internews în Republica Moldova. Vreau să vă rog mult, cei care au nevoie de traducere, să-și ia căștile acum, pentru că vom avea o sesiune în două limbi. Astăzi dimineața, prima sesiune. E onoarea mea să moderez un panel format din diplomați și oameni care au experiență internațională în diferite țări, inclusiv și în Republica Moldova, regională și chiar globală, aș spune. Primul în lista noastră de vorbitori este excelența sa, domnul Derek Hogan, ambasadorul Statelor Unite în Republica Moldova. The floor is yours.
Bună dimineața! Stimați reprezentanți ai mass media, membri al Guvernului, colegi, ambasadori și diplomați și onorați oaspeți, vă mulțumesc pentru această oportunitate de a vorbi la acest eveniment atât de important pentru Moldova, pentru noi. Pe 2 de data mai 3 mai, noi am observat Ziua Mondială Libertății presei, pentru a onora rolul critic pe care îl are presa în crearea unor democrații puternice și a societăților prospere. Este potrivit, deci, că și astăzi să sprijinim jurnaliștii și profesioniștii din mass media din Moldova și să discutăm despre modalitățile de cooperare, pentru a ne asigura că Moldova să continue să cultive o societate în care presa vibrantă, liberă și independentă să prospere. Un obiectiv meritat de orice națiune liberă și cerut de democrație. Astfel de evenimente ne permit să învățăm și să reflectăm asupra modalităților de consolidare și sprijinire a mass media independentă. Guvernul Statelor Unite este unul din cei mai activi susținători ai libertății mass media și ai pluralismului în lume, inclusiv aici în Moldova. Suntem convinși că libertatea de exprimare a indivizilor și a presei, fără frică sau intimidare, este un drept universal și un pilon a societăților democratice. Iată de ce Statele Unite au sprijinit și vor continua să sprijine mass media independentă din Moldova. În Moldova și multe alte locuri în lume, jurnaliștii independenți încurajează dezbateri active, demască injustiția și abuzul, contribuie la creșterea unor cetățeni mai informați pentru a responsabiliza liderii și trasează un curs mai luminos pentru viitor. Vreau să subliniez faptul că o mass media robustă și independentă nu este un lucru de care să fie frică. Mai degrabă, prin provocarea lansată preconcepțiilor și oferirea unor noi perspective, mass media poate ajuta guvernele să servească poporul mai bine, mai eficient. În plus, capacitatea unui guvern de a accepta critica din partea presei este un indicator important al angajamentului guvernului pentru o dezvoltare și reformare reală, credibilă. Pe scurt, bărbații și femeile din mass media, mulți dintre care sunt alături de noi astăzi, au un rol critic, crucial, în crearea și apărarea tinerei democrații din Moldova, asigurându-se că moldovenii să aibă acces la adevăr și să fie înarmați cu cunoștințele necesare pentru îndeplinirea propriilor responsabilități civice. Din păcate, angajamentul nostru comun cu privire la aceste libertăți este pus la încercare de actori necinstiți, ce caută să folosească narrative false pentru a deruta publicul, pentru a semăna divizare în societate și pentru a submina valorile democratice, în special în timpul perioadelor electorale. Aceasta este o provocare răspândită în întreaga lume și ce a afectat chiar țara mea. Iată de ce trebuie să ne unim eforturile pentru a identifica, recunoaște și demasca aceste activități dăunătoare. Chiar și în această scurtă perioadă de prezență aici, în Moldova, eu, ca mulți alții din cei prezenți aici, am fost ținta campaniilor de dezinformare și atacuri personale, îndreptate spre subminarea activității noastre. Și de aceea eu înțeleg dorința de a reduce la tăcere sau de a cenzura aceste voci coruzive. Totuși, aceasta nu este răspunsul corect. Arma principală a democrației, atunci când este pusă față în față cu atacuri mincinoase, este libertatea, este transparența și reînnoirea angajamentului în mod deschis. Am văzut deja că un instrument eficient împotriva eforturilor de dezinformare a publicului este sprijinirea jurnaliștilor onești și imparțiali, care pot demasca adevărul și scoate la iveală dezinformarea. Așa cum am văzut în timpul campaniei de alegeri parlamentare din luna februarie, reporterii onești și cu principii deontologice care au refuzat partenizatul politic și au ajutat publicul să înțeleagă mai bine pozițiile candidaților. Au avut un rol important în procesul de a ajuta alegatorii să facă alegeri mai informate. Anume, acest lucru îl merită poporul Moldovei. Deci, întrucât se apropie alegerile locale, haideți să salutăm Moldova pentru succesul înregistrat până astăzi și să ne angajăm să căutăm oportunități de a progresa în continuare. În lunile și anii ce urmează, sperăm să continuăm parteneriatul cu Moldova pentru a asigura o și mai mare libertate a presei, prin diversificarea proprietarilor mass media, prin mai puțină dependență de asocierea partinică, prin acces mai mare pentru publicul la informația oficială și prin asigurarea ca jurnaliștii să poată activa fără frică de hărțuire sau abuz. Statele Unite așteaptă cu nerăbdare să colaboreze cu toți partenerii doritori de a crea un viitor luminos, prosper și democratic, pe care îl merită moldovenii. Vă mulțumesc pentru atenție.
Vă mulțumim. Eu aș pune accentul și mă bucur că domnul ambasador a pus accentul pe rolul presei în alegeri, mai ales încrederea care ar trebui noi să o avem, făcând o alegere când mergem la urne, când vrem să ne bazăm pe o informație de încredere și una care nu ar avea dezinformare sau informație falsă. Cred că e un subiect important. Aș lăsa întrebările pentru sfârșitul acestei sesiuni, dacă ele vor fi. Și în continuare, it is my pleasure to turn to our second speaker, the Deputy Head of Mission of the Delegation of the European Union in the Republic of Moldova, Mrs. Ursula Palas.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I would like to thank the organizers for inviting me to this conference. There are many organizers, I counted 8, so it must be a very important event, and because the topic you are proposing to us is indeed an important one, because in fact we are talking about fundamental rights. Freedom of expression encompasses access to information, encompasses access and freedom to receive and disseminate any information via any media. And as a fundamental freedom, unfortunately, as other fundamental freedoms, cannot be taken for granted. Last week, our EU heads of state and government who met in Sibiu stated that those freedoms were fought hard, but they need to be protected, I would say, on a daily basis via vigilance and engagement. Media freedom, as you know the best, is a very complex issue. It is not simply enforceable by a decree, but rather must be defended by everyone, by the civil society, by the government. by the journalists, and by the judicial system. It also needs many ingredients. It needs an appropriate legislative framework, an independent regulatory body, but also laws ensuring access to information, a healthy distance for particular economic or political influences. Last but not least, also media literacy play a role here. In 2016, the EU, and I was very happy to be part of this process, that's why I'm proud to remind it. In 2016, the EU agreed upon a global strategy for our foreign and security policy, for the institutions and for the member states. In this strategic document, the EU put communication and media on a higher strategic level. Since then, since 2016, I would argue that the EU has definitely increased its understanding of what is at stake, but also improved its tools to tackle the challenges, both internally and externally. With regard to the internal dimension, internal EU dimension, just to give you an example, we are now very much focused, and by we I mean institutions, the member states, in tackling the topic of media and elections. When following the developments in the Republic of Moldova, we base primarily our work and attention on the bilateral framework. This is the association agreement, which was concluded 5 years ago, and also on the association agenda, which is a kind of action plan for the years 2017-2019. Both documents contain provisions regarding media freedom. And these are mutual commitments between the Republic of Moldova and the European Union. With regard to the legislative framework, and on a very positive note, last year a new audiovisual code was adopted. We consider it a very important step. Also, remarkably, competences of the Competition Council in the mass media sphere were clarified. We would welcome if also all the other laws which had been developed in the working group in Parliament could be adopted soon. I mean specifically the law on advertisement, the law on fiscal incentives, and a new law on access to information. Obviously, also the new audiovisual code would need to be implemented properly, and for that secondary legislation should be also developed and adopted. As to the recent February elections in the Republic of Moldova, I think that those present in this room have all read and analyzed reports of national and international observers. Overall, in the electoral period, some of the persistent phenomena became more apparent. The OECD ODIHR report, for example, focuses on ownership of the media and control of the media, which limited access of voters to information. This report recommends solving this long-standing issue. Another report of NMO, which stands for the European Network of Election Monitoring Organizations, highlights the role of the operator. In this report, NMO stated that the monitoring and sanctioning process was not efficient, meaning it had no dissuasive effect. I would add to this that because elections are now taking place according to a new electoral system, including uninominal circumscriptions, possibly more attention should be given and more scrutiny also to regional media. And what we also regretfully observed, witnessed, was hate speech against journalists. The Ombudsman has repeatedly suggested legal changes and action of the prosecution. The threat of violence is never an acceptable part of democratic debate. Finally, let me reassure you that the EU, as it is doing today, will continue supporting media in the Republic of Moldova. We plan some new activities for the autumn of this year, devoted to media development and literacy. To sum up, the EU remains committed to working with the Republic of Moldova, remains committed to work with the authorities, with all relevant institutions, with the civil society, to improve the life of citizens of this country. And media freedom and access to information are crucial elements for citizens' empowerment. Thank you.
Hello? Yeah, this time it works. Thank you so much. 2 points I really appreciate in your intervention. One, the stress placed on media literacy. I think it's absolutely important, of absolute importance to have media literacy on the agenda, to have them in schools like we are doing now as part of this project with our partners like the Independent Journalism Center and other activities focused on this, because the education of the audience and ultimately the voter makes it is part of important part of the decision making for the voter when it comes to elections. Now that actually we might have more elections coming up, again the importance of this factor stands out. And the second one is the importance of the working group in the parliament that we are all part of, and had an immense work placed and put in, and efforts as well as the resources. So we do hope, similarly as you said, that the other laws developed in that process will be adopted by the new parliament whenever that will happen. Thank you very much, and with this I would like to ask Her Excellency Lucy Joyce to have her intervention. She is the Ambassador of Great Britain to the Republic of Moldova. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Karina. Good morning, bună dimineața. Colleagues, fellow speakers, participants, organisers, experts, and of course representatives of the media. I'm delighted to be here with you all today at the opening of the 2019 edition of the Media Policy Forum. I'm very impressed to see so many dedicated people, many experienced and creative professionals from different countries, all unified by the same idea: to discuss the challenges faced by the media community in the Republic of Moldova and seek solutions for these issues. I wanted to share with you just a few of my thoughts on the role of an independent mass media in a functioning democracy. The UK strongly believes a pluralistic media landscape which offers citizens a variety of different perspectives, and a media sector that is resilient to political and financial pressures are key principles for promoting good governance. A lack of transparency and accountability and authority can feed corruption and can undermine integrity in a society, which of course hinder the effective and legitimacy of any development process, any government process. So to ensure this transparency, this accountability, governments have to protect the independent functioning of the media, as my colleagues have said, and allow multiple viewpoints to flourish in society. I mean, that is the bedrock of democracy, those different voices. The free and responsible media is fundamental to an open and democratic society, holding the powerful to account and speaking up for those who have no voice. In fact, no society can ever be free if its media is not. So for each and every one of us, media freedom is our freedom. And I would absolutely echo Ursula's point that we need to defend it and protect it every day. It was hard fought for and hard won, and we need to look after it. The UK government continues to support Moldova to uphold its democratic foundations, including a free and independent media. Just last month, the British Foreign Secretary Jeremy Hunt announced the launch of a global campaign to shine a light on abuses of the media. The UK and Canada will co-host a global conference for media freedom in London on the 10th and 11th of July. We anticipate a global attendance of 1,000 guests ranging from ministers, government officials, diplomats, international agencies, civil society organisations, non-governmental organisations and academics. Basically everybody with an interest, all those important stakeholders. We've also been providing support to the independent media in Moldova through the UK's Good Governance Fund since 2016, including Media M, a major project. We continue to support the development of an independent, unbiased and professional media that provides citizens with access to different perspectives and the creation of a media sector that is more resilient to pressures. In this way, we hope to ensure space for citizens to engage in public policy dialogue and to strengthen their abilities to hold the public authorities to account. And this is just one element of it. I mean, in the longer term, globally, the United Kingdom is seeking to see a reduction in state barriers to a free media, countries living up to their international commitments, and a taboo on both direct or indirect attacks against journalists. So let me conclude by wishing you all the very best for your discussions with lots of brilliant ideas for all of us to take forward. Thank you very much.
I think, your last sentence going forward is really a motto of this conference, because the forum is organized in such a format that it really means it is meant to lead to changes on the policy levels. I was always asked, so what's the difference between your conference and so many others? So we kept saying, policies. We want to discuss the things that affect us on a different level. We want to push for change in terms of the framework that we all mentioned, the legal framework, the self-regulatory framework, the role of the government in this process. So taking forward what we'll discuss here is essential to our project, to our partners in the project, and we hope to achieve impact this way. So with this major goal in sight, I'll pass on the microphone to Mr. Christopher Duggan, the Deputy Chief of Mission of the Embassy of Canada in Romania, Bulgaria, and the Republic of Moldova.
Bună dimineața. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here, and also special thanks to Freedom House, as well as all of the partners in this very important conversation. And also it's an honor to share the stage with this panel as well. Without repeating some of the excellent points that have already been made so far this morning, I'll take a few moments to speak about the importance of media freedom, generally speaking, some of the worrying trends that we see, also Canada's priorities, and also I'll make reference to a very key event that's coming up in July. Indeed, promoting media freedom is a key component of Canada's advocacy to strengthen the rules-based international order, democratic resilience, and respect for the right to freedom of opinion and expression. Canada believes that the media play an essential role in defending and advancing the truth. Journalists must be allowed to report facts freely and independently. However, Canada is concerned that the capacity to speak truth to power and the capacity for citizens to engage with the truth is increasingly under threat. Digital technologies have brought significant changes to the global information infrastructure. Given the democratic value and importance of the global information space as a shared public good, Canada believes there is a renewed need to strengthen and safeguard its integrity. Canada is concerned that the widespread use of digital technologies has enabled the proliferation of disinformation, making the public more vulnerable to manipulation. On this, and one example I'll quickly make reference to, is the G7 Rapid Response Mechanism, which is housed at Global Affairs Canada, which is our foreign ministry based in Ottawa. And so we act and we help ensure and share information and analysis with other G7 partners and other partners around the world with regards to evolving threats to democracy, including disinformation, while identifying opportunities for a coordinated response. Given these challenges, Canada believes efforts to advance media freedom must seek to protect both the media's right to speak and the public's need to address information of public interest and value in order to exercise their democratic rights. Indeed, media freedom has been declining in this region as well. These are worrying trends we're seeing around the world, but of course in this region is unfortunately as well. According to the 2019 World Press Freedom Index produced by Reporters Sans Frontières, Romania has fallen 3 places to 47th place, Moldova has fallen 10 places to 91st, and Bulgaria has held steady at an even lower place at 111th. Clearly, much work needs to be done. It is clear that independent media, free from political and undue corporate influence, with the mandate to report the facts, is under threat. Canada is in 18th spot, when we also demonstrate that improvements must be pursued for all of us to maintain the health of our democracies. Again, why is media freedom important? We believe protecting freedom of expression for the media and the safety of journalists are at the heart of a strong and resilient democracy. Tragically, 2018 was a deadly year for journalists, with reports of 80 killed, 348 imprisoned, and 60 being held hostage because of their work. This illustrates a worrying deterioration in media freedom across the world and constitutes a serious threat to democracy and sustainable development. Impunity for crimes against journalists, unfortunately, continues. Never has there been a more important time for us to work together to protect the democratic principles to which we are committed. And at this point, I would like to obviously mention the upcoming events in July. I'm very happy to be here today to speak to you with the UK Ambassador and other partners, of course, about the value of independent media as a fundamental pillar of democracy, and make reference to the joint initiative which the UK and Canada is organizing, which is called the International Conference of Media Freedom, to be held July 10th and 11th in London. So thank you very much for your cooperation for everyone as well. Canada deeply appreciates the partnership with the UK to join forces to support media freedom. Our freedom, as I've unfortunately mentioned, is increasingly under threat around the world. We believe Canada is a natural partner for the UK and everyone else to support and promote media freedom. And this conference, of course, we're excited to be part of it, and we are confident that this conference will constitute a meaningful effort against the troubling deterioration of media freedom. And we will work to ensure that a diversity of stakeholders is able to contribute to this conference. So in conclusion, I will quote Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who said, "Canada will always defend journalistic freedom and stand up against any violence, intimidation, censorship, and false arrests used to silence journalists, from international broadcasters that bring the world into our homes, to local newspapers that empower us to shape the communities that we live in. We know that a free press builds stronger and healthier societies." Vă mulțumesc. Thank you very much, and I look forward to participating in the rest of the conference. Thank you.
Now that we have some time for questions, I would like for you to think about a question, first of all, and second, I see that Tatiana still holds her microphone, so she can pass it on to the members of the audience who have a question, but in the meantime, I'll use you think about a question. I'll use my role as a moderator and ask you, looking at your biographies and seeing your experience in different countries, some very interesting and very complex, not to say exactly which ones, but I would like to ask you, what do you think about the level of development of media in Moldova, its role in the society, especially with a look into the future? in comparison with your experience in other countries, what you've observed there, what can you say about Moldovan media in comparison with others? You mentioned that in terms of Bulgaria and the countries you're responsible for, and Romania, of course. But I was wondering if you took a broader perspective, what would you say about media in Moldova, especially if you look into the future? I see. It should be, we do not turn it off, so go ahead.
Yeah, I would say that media in Moldova is very much a work in progress. It has, in terms of countries where I've served, it's more developed, but in other countries where I've served, it's still falling behind. And so what I mean by that, when it comes to independent media, having independent television stations, or even in some cases opposition on television stations, and then I saw some report. I have to admit it was back in December, so I'm not sure if the rating is still the same. But one of the independent outlets, TV outlet, was one of the top 3 most watched outlets in Moldova. That was something that to me was a pleasant surprise. The countries where I have served in the past, there isn't independent outlets, certainly on television. And so to be able to not only have an outlet, but to be able at the same time to be one of the most watched outlets is a step forward. But I would also say that it's in the context of having worked in countries where there is still a long ways to go, particularly when it comes to the concentration of the media in the hands of a very limited number of companies or individuals. When it comes to the type of debate that is seen, and something I think in my country we're also suffering from, where the outlets have such sharp and rigid views that it seems like if you watch one channel, you can, and it's observing one event, looking at 2 different channels, you can get almost 2 different stories out of it, even though they are both channels are observing the same event. I see some of that even in my country as well, unfortunately. And also something that I would encourage, and we would look forward to working with the next government in Moldova on, is that there be more access to information. What I mean by that is that that any of the official events that take place, that there be a welcome invitation from all, a welcome invitation to all outlets to be able to participate in that event. We've encouraged the government. I've had conversations with government leaders on this, and we will continue to do so, as well as access to information that is available, that could be made available on websites. There are some government institutions that do this better, and there are some that are a little bit probably too restricted in terms of that information. And so being able to give access to the public, so that not just the public, but researchers, think tanks, so that they could have the information that they need to be able to evaluate, to be able to offer independent analysis, which I think would be helpful to the government, so that they could get that fresh thinking and alternative thinking, so that they can chart a course forward for the country. Thank you.
Thank you. I see those who made notes will turn to them, because I think they were preparing to answer this question. Go ahead.
Sorry, thanks very much.
Yeah.
Well, I'd agree with everything that Derek has said. I mean, a strong independent media holding that government to account, I think, is really important. I mean, I think there are, there are many positives here. I think there are, very, professional journalists doing important work, holding the government to account, and I think, we are very happy to support that work and want to do more of it. The media concentration is a worry. Financial sustainability for some of the media is something that we have been looking at, and I think it's really important that we support those voices speaking truth to power, as Chris said. So I'd agree it's a work in progress, but I do think we should recognise there is good work being done, and I'm looking around the room and seeing some of those faces, and I would really just say again how much we support that and encourage it, and we remain concerned about the stories of accounts of pressure and harassment on journalists.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I would add or underline that indeed limited capacities and resources is one of the elements which are striking. And then although printed media in the world in general is declining, I still find it personally also striking that in this country there is almost no printed media, and most daily, and so all of the important discussions take place on TV, radio, and in the social media. So this is a very striking, interesting element in the Republic of Moldova, and in this respect, indeed, fighting disinformation in social media is of utmost importance. I mentioned that the EU is undertaking important steps in this regard, and the policy which we developed aims at fighting against disinformation both in the EU and outside the EU, in particular in the neighborhood. We also have a rapid reaction system developed and supported by the top leadership level, where EU member states are supposed to share information and detect worrying elements, fake news. The European Commission is gathering reports on a monthly basis from some important social media operators like Facebook, Mozilla, Google, on a monthly basis with concrete data, what and where was protected. And by this is also some neighborhood countries are, in this attempt, also neighborhood countries are included, and you all know that this concerns both the Republic of Moldova, but also Macedonia and Kosovo. So overall, some elements of the media landscape are similar, but there are some particularities, like in every country, like for every country.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll just make two very quick points. Firstly, we see a lot of excellent work being done in Moldova, and I would say this, in fact, 100% of all of our funding and programs that we have for the last 2 years have been devoted entirely to supporting journalists and media freedom in Moldova, to leverage some of the excellent work that is being done here, especially as it relates to the point that Ursula made with regards to a lack of resources and the ability to amplify some of the great work that is being done here. Secondly, one of the things we find really important about the idea of promoting media freedom is promoting a diversity of opinions, especially as it relates to gender perspectives, reflecting the foreign policy we have, which is a feminist foreign policy we have in Canada at this point. And a part of the diversity of opinions, which is essential for an effective debate in a democratic society. Having said a diversity of opinion does not mean it gives you a license to make up facts. And I think, speaking to your point about disinformation and some of the competing voices out there, many represent factual reporting and others do not. And this is a challenge for any democratic society, and certainly we see it here as well. So I'll make those two quick points, and thank you very much for that question.
Thank you, and I think your point about the print press is absolutely valid. It's it's surprising, even being Moldovan myself, that we don't have a daily, but we do have one newspaper that has rising subscription rates, and that's Ziarul de Gardă. They are a partner in our project, and we're happy about that. So on this positive note, I'd like to ask the audience if you have any questions. Tatiana, could you have a look?
Mă numesc Andrei Borgan, sunt directorul televiziunii locale din Cimișlia. Reprezentanta UE a menționat că în condițiile alegerilor mixte crește rolul mass mediei locale și ar trebui mai mult sprijinite, dar în traducere s-a spus că ar trebui mai mult verificate. Pentru noi, mai mult verificare înseamnă mai mult pedepse. Așa mai simplu ca să fie înțeles, dar ideea este că, nu știu, legea trecerii din cantitate în calitate este și pentru mass media valabilă sau nu. Dacă acum vreo 5 ani erau 18 posturi TV locale care emiteau prin etier, astăzi atestăm că au rămas numai 9, iar peste un an de zile poate să dispară și aceste 9 posturi TV prin etier, fiindcă trebuie să trecem la televiziune digitală și niciun post local TV nu are nici finanțe, nici posibilități să treacă la această modernizare care se cere de timp și conform legislației. Și aș vrea să vă întreb pe dumneavoastră dacă vedeți sprijinul mass mediei locale și prin acest sprijin de a trece la televiziune digitală sau vom trece toți pe online, ceea ce nu e chiar corect, fiindcă oamenii în sate privesc televizorul, seara analizează, nu toți stau pe mobile și pe rețele sociale. Deci m-ar interesa cum văd partenerii acestei conferințe, acest sprijin al mass mediei locale, televiziunii locale, radioul local și chiar și ziarelor locale. Mulțumesc!
Vă mulțumesc pentru această întrebare. Într-adevăr, vreau să vă zic și din experiența mea în alte regiuni, unde am lucrat în țări și mai puțin dezvoltate, tranziția la televiziune digitală deja a avut loc. Și pentru mine a fost de mirare când am revenit aici 2 ani în urmă, că noi încă nu am trecut la televiziune digitală. Tranziția și procesul este, nu se vede niciun fel de pași și atunci, într-adevăr, domnul Bragan are dreptate, pot fi afectați consumatorii, chiar dacă avem o varietate de metode de a folosi informația, nu doar pe televiziune digitală, dar și satelit, și online, și televiziune analog. Conform acelor tratate care Moldova le-a semnat, noi trebuia deja să trecem. E o problemă importantă de nivel de politici și de aceea vreau să vă mulțumesc pentru această întrebare. Nu știu dacă vorbitorii și cei din panel ar vrea să spună ceva, să adauge sau să completeze.
I would like to thank you for raising this issue, which we consider indeed a crucial one. I cannot tell you that we have a ready-made program for regional media, but we follow developments, or we try to follow developments, and we try to formulate our answer to it. So when we will develop further our tools, we will certainly look into it much deeper. For the moment, what I can say is, as you know probably, that we supported as EU the capacities of the public TV in Gagauzia. So we have already a track record in looking also into the regions with regard to TV. We support other media in the regions, not necessarily stations, but I fully see and I fully understand your concern. I think all of us, and we will, when developing our new tools, we will analyze the possibilities.
Eu pot să vă spun că asistența noastră deja include sprijinirea mass media regională, deja.
Vă mulțumesc. Alte întrebări? Dacă nu avem întrebări, aș vrea să vă rog concluzii, comentarii la sfârșit și apoi transmitem ștafeta următoarei panele, vorbitori, sesiuni. Mulțumesc!
I would just like to again thank the organizers for this conference. It is so important, particularly in this interregnum, this political interregnum. We don't know honestly how long this is going to last, and so while all of us are of course waiting to partner with the next government, this is the perfect opportunity to reflect on some of the priorities that the next government should be taking up, right? And so this is one of those very important issues that we are already beginning to have discussions with the different parties that could make up the next government coalition. So I encourage more events like this. We, of course, the United States will be happy to support events like this because, again, this is all part of what makes a democracy that much more vibrant, that much more real for the people in the country, is that when we come together in a forum like this and discuss the developments, the progress, as well as the areas that need to be strengthened further. So thank you for allowing us to be part of this.
I would like to highlight how important the work of journalists in this country is, and nobody would deny that the landscape is very diversified, and you are able to receive information from any source, not with the same range, but you are in a position. So I would say that it is a very lively and well-motivated milieu, well-motivated group. I would like to encourage you to take advantage of what you already have and continue working for the benefit of the country, also by honesty, accuracy of the news you are presenting. Thank you for inviting me.
Thanks very much, and thank you very much for having me on the panel. I think it's been really, really interesting. I mean, I just wanted to say, I mean, the UK will obviously continue supporting the media here. We've done it in the past, we'll continue in the future. It is a top priority for the British Foreign Secretary and for the British Foreign Office every year. We have a particular focus this year with our conference with Canada, but it's always been a priority for us. So I would just, encourage you in, the good work that is being done, and to salute the courage that it sometimes takes. We absolutely recognise that. We've seen that with, the statistics which Chris cited, and we were very happy to see in the last week the two journalists released, two Reuters journalists released in Burma, in Myanmar. So the world is watching in these cases, and I would just encourage the good work that's being done. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I won't repeat some of the excellent points that have been made, but suffice to say that it's a shared responsibility for all of us to protect and promote media freedom as a basic tenet of democracy, and certainly Canada will be a steadfast supporter in all these initiatives. So thank you to the organizers and thank you to the panel. It's been an excellent experience, and I suspect it'll be an even more excellent rest of the day. So thank you very much.
Thank you, and we'll have opportunities for networking, both at breaks, at the break at lunch, and also after the event. So we'll have the opportunity to discuss other issues, but I do agree with you. Looking at the lineup, the people that made the travel from close and further places that's allocated away from Moldova, I think we do see how important this event is and the priorities we'll set up. Thank you.